There has just been a out of nowhere mega trade in the NBA with the Toronto Raptors and the New York Knicks. What I'm doing in today's video is going into NBA 2K24, looking at the ratings, simulating a season, and telling you who won that trade. You might be thinking to yourself,
does this channel really take real life stuff and try to see if it works in 2K?
Yes, that's the whole point. Get pasa to the pack. It is Pack here. If you like that kind of content, please join up the pack and subscribe. We're going to be doing this all year, every year. So continue on with me. Let's go. Let's start with the New York Knicks. They get OG Anunoby, Precious Achiuwa, and Malachi Flynn, all from the Toronto Raptors. They trade RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickly, and their second round pick that belongs from Detroit, which means that's like the 31st pick in the draft, which is a pretty good pick. Let's start with New York, okay? Now, instead of having RJ Barrett, who is tied as the third best player, you add OG, who is the fourth best player on the Knicks. Not only that, he would be the third best player considering Mitchell Robinson is out for a long time. Precious Achiuwa is perfect because he's the same rating as Isaiah Hartenstein and has the potential to start for the Knicks. And Malachi Flynn, who will be a backup point guard now that you're losing Emmanuel Quickly and will be fighting with McBride. Now, if you look at the brand new starting lineup for the New York Knicks, it's going to be Jalen Brunson, OG Anunoby, Josh Hart, Julius Randle, and Precious Achiuwa. Usually it would be Mitchell Robinson at the center, but as you know, he is hurt. But what has this done for New York? If we explain the situation, it makes a little bit of sense if you put it into context. Yes, you have lost Emmanuel Quickly and RJ Barrett, both 80 overall players. That's a huge loss for the Knicks. But what has happened is that you've let go of offense and added defense. OG Anunoby is arguably as good as an offensive player as RJ Barrett. He averages less points. However, he's more efficient than RJ Barrett. On top of that, OG Anunoby is an all defensive player, while RJ Barrett has been one of the worst defenders in the last couple years. So if it was a 1-for-1 OG Anunoby for RJ Barrett trade, I think that's W for the Knicks. The problem is you let go of Emmanuel Quickly, which is a way more important piece to lose. On top of that, they're both really young, while OG Anunoby is already 26. It's a questionable decision from New York. What they've done is they've made themselves into a pretty nice defensive team. You know Tom Thibodeau loves defensive teams, and they're going to be playing OG like 40 minutes a night probably. Like, yeah, that's what Tom Thibodeau does. He likes to murder his players. I can see this being a good thing for New York. However, I don't think this is the trade that's going to put them in a championship position. Maybe it's putting them in a guaranteed playoff position. That's cool, but they've been that team for a couple years now. Isn't it time to start looking for the future into a championship run? I don't know if this changes anything. What about the Raptors though? Look, you lose OG Anunoby, who was an all-defensive player. However, there was a position that was really lacking for the Raptors, and that was the point guard position. They need somebody that can not only score, but hand the ball off to other players. Emmanuel Quickly is very good at that department. On top of that, you don't have a massive hole with OG Anunoby because you still have an offensive capable player in RJ Barrett. On top of that, I think both parties, the Raptors and RJ Barrett, are happy that he's in Canada because, well, he's Canadian. He is happy. Emmanuel Quickly gets to start. I'm sure he is begging for it. According to 2K, the new Raptors starting lineup is Emmanuel Quickly 80 overall, RJ Barrett 81, Scottie Barnes 86, Siakam 86, and Jakob Poeltl 81. Their entire starting lineup is in the 80 overall club, and that is massive. On top of that, Scottie Barnes is 22, RJ Barrett is 23, and Emmanuel Quickly is 24. So not only have you filled out your roster a lot nicer, now you've added pieces that complement each other, and you're looking good for the future, while currently being able to be a playoff team if they play well. And on top of it all, you get Detroit's pick next season, which is going to be the 31st pick in the draft. Look, you can say what you want about New York and whether or not it was a good trade. There is no denying this was a 1000 IQ trade for the Raptors. W. But look, yes, I showed you the ratings, but I've given my opinion. Now, let's see what 2K thinks. I just want to say, the vibes are good today, boys. This is a fun trade. I've needed something to wake me up. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to simulate an entire season for the Knicks and the Raptors. We're going to see where they end up in a playoff position, who averages the most points on these teams, and, well, which team got better based off the players that they traded for. Let's go. Let's start with the Knicks. Actually, you can see that they're right next to each other with 1 win difference. Look, New York ends up with a 46-36 record, tying the Milwaukee Bucks as, well, a middle of the playoff pack team. Only 1 game off the 3rd seed in the Eastern Conference. In terms of player stats, OG Anunoby only averages 12 points per game, and his field goal percentage is really not good at 39% from the field and 31% from 3. But what doesn't change is obviously he's a good defender. Precious Achiuwa also with 11 points and 7 rebounds in just 21 minutes a game. I wouldn't be surprised if Tom Thibodeau gives him a lot more minutes if he ends up being a starter. His rating goes up to a 79 overall, according to 2K. OG Anunoby goes up to 82 overall as well. What's really important though is the Knicks end up with the best defensive points per game in the East. This is exactly what they want. Tom Thibodeau loves good defensive teams. This is exactly what's happened. You've made the best defensive team in the East based off this trade. While still having capable offensive players, it puts you in a position where at least you're the best at something, which is what the Knicks need in order to compete for championships. Do I think this is enough? No, because if they were to play the Milwaukee Bucks, realistically, they're going to get spanked in the first round, realistically. Let's talk about Toronto. Toronto gets a 45-37 record. This is 1 game less than the Knicks, which you could be like, oh, the Raptors lose then. But no, because the Raptors aren't even a playoff team right now, and they're upgraded to a positive winning record and a 6th seed, which is not play-in tournament. That's playoffs, period. They would play the Atlanta Hawks first round, which is totally doable theoretically. Looking at points per game, believe it or not, RJ Barrett's the leading scorer for Toronto with good field goal percentage at 49%, almost 50. Emmanuel Quickley is the 2nd leading scorer for Toronto with 17.7 points per game on good efficiency. That's an insane trade for the Raptors. If that is what ends up happening, is that RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickley become the leading scorers for the Raptors while being an automatic Eastern Conference playoff team. That is an absolute W if you're Toronto. Now, this is a simulation, okay? This is all theoretical. The reality is we don't know what's really going to happen, but this is just off of player statistics and attributes and what 2K believes based off this. This is not going to be correct, but is it going to be far off this? Probably not. I'm going to simulate the playoffs and tell you how both teams did. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Eastern Conference Final MVP Julius Randle. You are seeing that correctly. Hold on a second. We have ourselves a New York Knicks Denver Nuggets NBA Finals. Now, hold on. Let's relax for a second, okay? The Toronto Raptors lose in 5 games to the Atlanta Hawks, okay? This team was good, but clearly not good enough to beat a superstar in Trae Young. Okay, I can see that. The Knicks sweep Milwaukee. Beat Cleveland in 5 games, which is possible. They've already basically done that. Beat the Sixers in 5 games, which I don't know about that. And now they're going to play Denver in the NBA Finals. Listen, in terms of content, I'm very happy right now, but there's no way, bro. Apparently, OG Anunoby's the key. Apparently, this is what we're going to do. We're going to simulate the NBA Finals, and I'm going to let you know what happens. The Denver Nuggets beat the New York Knicks, obviously, in the NBA Finals in 5 games. Okay, based off this, simulation-wise, I think this is a W for the Knicks. You got to the NBA Finals, right? You only lost to the champs of last season, and you beat a game off them. That's a W to me. I mean, if you're New York, who have been horrible for like 20 years, to make an NBA Finals, that's a positive thing to do. There's no way this is going to happen, but I think if this is what were to happen, I would say this is probably a positive for both teams, but even more of a positive for the Knicks. Okay, that's what 2K thinks. What do you think? Leave it in the comments below. If you like this channel, please give it a sub, and in the comments, let me know, is this trade cash or trash for the New York Knicks? I'll see you guys next time.